All right, wow. Feels weird. I have not sat here and filmed a video like this in a very long time. What's up, YouTube? It's Brian here, and today I have so much to talk about and obviously a pretty big announcement, and I figured I wanted to share with you guys some obvious changes that you can tell that are happening in my life and why they're happening, and maybe just to give you guys some insight on things I've been going through, because maybe you have been going through similar phases in your life. I have lived in Los Angeles for the past 8 years, well, back and forth. I went home a few times, but mostly for 8 years, ever since I graduated high school in 2012, which is crazy that it's been that long already. But as soon as I graduated high school, I moved to Los Angeles, and I've been there ever since. And as you can tell from the title of this video, I am moving out of Los Angeles, at least for the time being. This decision has not been an easy one, and I'm gonna get into why I've made this decision and what it means for me and my future, and kind of give you some insight on maybe why you see some other YouTubers, content creators, and people leaving Los Angeles. But before we get into why I'm leaving LA and what it means for my future, I thought it'd be a really cool time to give you guys a very transparent breakdown of how my life on YouTube and my life since high school has went, and how I ended up in LA, why I ended up in LA, what I've done in LA, how things have changed, and where things are going. And so I felt like this would be a really cool transition point, not only in my life outside of YouTube, but potentially with the type of content that I'm gonna be making moving forward. I hope you like story times, because I'm gonna walk you through a little story of my life for the past 8 to 10 years. And try not to get emotional, because there's a lot to cover. So, for the sake of this story, we're gonna go all the way back to the spring of 2011, almost 10 years ago. At the time, I was a junior in high school. My world felt so much smaller. I was just little old Brian, baby Brian is what I was known as in high school, because there was a bigger Brian, he was very tall. I was always very short until like my senior year, had a very late bloom, if you will. While I was playing sports and things of that sort, I found my way entering a talent competition. I didn't have much talent, but for some reason I thought I should be on Disney or Nickelodeon. So I went to some casting call thing I heard on the radio. I've told this story before, so I don't want to give too much detail, but I ended up going to this competition in Florida, got to do some acting stuff for the first time, a little bit of modeling work, commercial type things, and made some connections that essentially brought me some opportunities out in Los Angeles that made me feel like after high school there was a chance I would want to explore going to LA while I continued college, but then maybe pursue the entertainment industry, just because I've always been someone that liked to make people laugh or had a lot to say and just kind of a goof. I was always the homebody growing up. I never really went to friends' sleepovers and stuff like that. I was social, but I wanted the social part of my life to take place at my house. I was the house that had the sleepover, the parties. So when I told my friends and family that I was gonna be going to Los Angeles, literally across the country, no one believed me. And I didn't really believe myself. In fact, I remember when I flew there and actually decided that I was gonna be moving there, we landed, me and my mom next to me, and I started crying on the plane and said that this was a big mistake and I wanted to go back home immediately. But I stuck it out. So in August 2012, I just finished graduating high school, and I got my very first apartment with my roommate at the time named Jake. I was very excited, but at the same time, very, very anxious. I had no other friends besides Jake, who I kind of knew from this competition from when I was in high school, and I was gonna be starting school at a community college that was right down the street, looking to make friends, to figure out anything of where my life was gonna be going, and at first that seemed impossible, but slowly but surely, I was able to do so. So I was going to school. I didn't really know what I wanted to study, like most 18-year-old kids, which is crazy that we had to try and figure out what we're gonna be at that age. I mean, there's of course, some people who just know, and I envy you if that was you, but I didn't. So I was just doing basic classes, but then I started taking some acting classes, and really just wanted to see what I could do, in LA, and what opportunities would arise. And slowly but surely some did. I was never really the greatest actor, but I had enough talent or luck to book some small things. I was doing student films, some short commercials. In fact, the first commercial I ever went on, I booked, which is a crazy thing. That doesn't happen in LA. And it was a pizza commercial. I'm sure I could probably find a picture from it from way back when. I forget what pizza company it was, but shout out to you, even though I don't remember your name. And I botched it, by the way. I was terrible. I was so nervous. I rashed up. It was terrible, but I did it. I made it through, and it was the start of all of my opportunities that would come in LA. At this time, I didn't have a YouTube channel, I do want to say. So I wasn't making YouTube videos yet. I mean, I had YouTube channels when I was younger. Like, I made videos and stuff as a kid, but those channels are long gone and they were just stupid videos. They weren't like YouTuber videos, you know? But I grew up on YouTube, so I was always a fan of it. But another part of the entertainment industry that intrigued me was modeling, because I grew, was tall enough. I don't think I was the best looking guy, but I was like, I don't know, I'm decent, you know, maybe I can do something, you know, so why not try? Plus, my roommate at the time really wanted to get into it, and then I met someone that lived in my apartment complex named Louis, and he was from Belgium. I haven't talked to him in a long time, but I kid you not, this kid's probably the best looking guy that I've ever met. Like, he is like a little young Heath Ledger. I met him and I was like, this is stupid how good looking you are. And he like didn't try, was one of those people, didn't try, didn't work out, just was naturally looking like a young god. I was like, okay, wow. So we go to some modeling agency casting openings, and I was trying to maybe sign with a modeling agency. I don't think I really had what it took, but decided why not. And the first casting agency we went to was to this company called Wilhelmina, and it's a very big modeling agency. And Louis got signed on the spot, like walked in and they signed him a deal that day. Jake and I were not so lucky. And that's okay, because I didn't think I deserved it, at least then. However, I kept trying. I tried to work out, try to look as good as I can, kept, you know, I was still in puberty, I kind of felt like, so I didn't think I was exactly a finished product yet. And I ended up getting a lucky break and signed with one of the world's biggest modeling agencies called Next when I was like 19, I think. And I couldn't believe it. I was so excited. I remember my mom was with me. Like, I was clearly like not cool. Like, my mom's like taking pictures of me like at every single Next sign at the building. But at the time, it was like a huge deal. You know, I signed with a modeling company, and a very big one. And it was like the first time I had like a kind of really cool thing happening. I was like, okay, this is something I can get behind. Like, maybe, yeah, I'm doing school, but maybe I'm gonna start getting some opportunities. And they continue to come in. I started shooting for different magazines. I even worked with some stores like Nordstrom, and eventually even got to do a runway show for Vogue at the Chateau Marmont, I think is how you say it. Look at that. I lived in LA 8 years and still don't know how to say that hotel restaurant's name. It's how un-LA I am at times. But I got to do a runway there in front of a bunch of celebrities. Some of the Kardashians were there. I got to meet David Beckham, the coolest dude ever, by the way. But even though I was having some success, I didn't really love it because it really messed up my self-esteem a little bit, because you'd go into these rooms with like literally the most unbelievably beautiful people, and you're comparing yourself to them, and it's like sometimes uncomparable, and you just feel shitty about yourself. And so eventually I kind of started to lean out of that and wanted to do more acting stuff, and that's how I started to work with Awesomeness TV way back in the day, working as an actor in a bunch of sketches they were doing in like web shows and stuff, where I started to meet my first big YouTubers. I want to say this is probably like 2014 at this point, and the first thing I ever go in to do was some Romeo and Juliet parody video, but like it was when like Bay was a thing, or like or nah. You guys remember like Vine back in the day, Cameron Dallas, those guys were all blowing up. O2L was still pretty big, things like that. I did this little thing and I was like, okay, this is different, you know? It's a little cringe, but it's different, but I kind of like it, it's fun. And I kept meeting these YouTubers, and I was learning about YouTube and being like, yo, I could do this, you know? Why not start making videos? So here I am, probably sophomore year of college or so, still pursuing some acting stuff, doing a little bit of modeling stuff, and then starting up this YouTube channel that was more just for fun. I didn't really think anything was gonna come from it. As I was posting stuff, I started to get a little bit of a following, and I was noticing that certain types of content were really working for me. And as you know, if you've been around for a long time, that would be dating content. Who would have known? I started making these dating videos, and I was noticing those were the ones that always did good for me. And I was like, okay, I should probably stick with this if it's working, you know, don't break something that's not broken. Wait, no. Don't fix something that's not broken. I don't know, one of those things sounds right. But so I started doing those types of videos, advice videos, you know, little funny guys versus girls videos. And plus, those were the type of videos people were doing at the time. And then through some really good luck and good fortune, meeting some other YouTubers, doing some very big collaborations, getting some exposure, I was able to start growing, and it was crazy. Slowly but surely, YouTube became a job, and I was like, okay, well, I can make this be part of my career. I'm still gonna do school. But why am I doing all these auditions that I book one in a blue moon when I can just make stuff that makes me money now and I have control of? I don't have to wait for someone to tell me I'm good enough. Nah, I'm just gonna make shit myself. That was always my mentality, and I kept doing that. Anyway, throughout this whole time, I wanted to be in LA because one, it's still the entertainment capital and all the opportunities outside of YouTube were there. And two, collaborations and YouTube events, all that stuff happened there. So it was the place to be. I noticed a lot of things were changing in social media in the past few years, and like the type of content people make. How it used to work back in the day, I kid you not, and I've done this, you go back in my channel, probably find some, but I would not really know another YouTuber, but we would say, oh, you have this many subscribers, oh, you have that many subscribers, our audiences might click. Let's see if we can film a video. It used to be the way to try and grow, but it's not really anymore. I don't really think people watch that type of content. Things were changing. On top of that, I haven't really been pursuing acting stuff. And the real reason why is I never wanted to have such a crazy life as I get older. Like, in terms of, like, I wouldn't want to be super famous. Like, I like doing YouTube and making content and streaming because I feel like it's just a community of people that all hang out and enjoy similar things, you know, and talk about stuff. But becoming like a really famous actor or like a super famous musician, hell, I can't sing, so it would never be me. But someone who is super famous to me seems more stressful than pleasurable. Like, I don't think I could handle that. At some point, I want my normal life. You know, I want to have a relationship and a family. And I started to weigh out pros and cons. And I started to notice that, like, I don't know if acting is the thing for me. So really, LA for me was just working content stuff and then being in a place that I liked because the weather was great, the opportunities were cool, a lot of friends of mine were there, and I loved the house I lived in. And then 2020 hit, and it hit hard. On top of me not doing as much with acting and not doing collaborating, for a very long time, as many of you guys have known, I've struggled with content because I no longer wanted to just do dating advice videos. Like, it just feels outdated for me. But I've always struggled because then I stopped doing the content. It hurt my channel enough to the point where I stopped posting. I stopped liking it. I felt like people didn't really care about me. They only cared about, you know, learning something. I don't know, man. I just started to lose my love for it. And so I stopped, kind of. Like, I tried a bunch of different times to switch it up, didn't work, so I stopped, which you guys probably know, especially during this year. So earlier this year, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I always had a love for video games, and I liked watching people live stream. It's just fun. I don't know why. I just liked it. It's a different environment. It's a different feel. So I started to stream on Twitch. At first, it was a very small group of people, like 30 people watching, and I would play games or we would do challenges, and sometimes it was just me talking like this. And then slowly but surely, it started to grow. And some of you guys who are watching this have already checked me out on Twitch, or you went over there because I've promoted it. And some other people who watch me on Twitch found me a different way and knew nothing about my YouTube channel, which has been really neat. It's like a new beginning a little bit. But the content I do there is so fun because it's just me having fun with my friends, doing stupid, silly things, hanging out, and building a community that I actually feel connected with. And I actually feel like I know a lot of the people who watch me because I've talked to them, and I've, you know, got to meet so many of them through like Skype calls and stuff, like through Patreon and things of that sort. And it's a very supportive, positive community, and it's really made me feel so happy. And I was doing that during Corona. So Corona came, and by the way, while I'm talking about this whole chapter of my life, there's obviously more important issues in the world like Corona and how many shitty things we've dealt with this year. I mean, how many people we've lost to Corona, right? So I don't want to sit here and say Corona, you know, is so terrible on me because it changed my social life, which I'll get into in a minute, but there's obviously so much more important things. So I don't want to be insensitive to that. For me personally, while I've been healthy, it did change things because it closed down any opportunities for work in LA. It changed the social life in LA, which is so much of what you pay for to be in LA because it's very expensive to be in LA. I couldn't really do things with my friends. A lot of my friends were leaving. A lot of friends went home to visit their families for a long time. And it started to make me evaluate, was being in LA the best thing for me at this moment in time? And all of my family and my closest friends live in Ohio. I'm 26, and at some point I hope to find a relationship and to start a family and to have a career, start moving forward, you know, as I get older and older. And I started to question if I want to do that across the country from the people that are most important to me. And I don't know. It's hard. And in an ideal world, I'd want a place here and a place there and a place in Florida and a place in Hawaii, and of course, but like that's not how life works, at least not right now. Who knows, right? Maybe down the road. And I figured this is probably a good time for me to come back home, to save some money, to continue working, doing what I want to be doing, to enjoy time with my family, to enjoy time with my dogs, to see some friends and reconnect with some people I haven't had the chance to in a very long time, to save up some money, to hopefully put myself in a better financial position, to explore some new opportunities, and to evaluate where I want to go moving forward. And when I said it like that to myself, it just felt like the right thing to do. And it's very hard to acknowledge that maybe that chapter of my life has come to an end. And I like to operate in a way where I don't like to look at decisions as like being permanent just because it stresses me out. And I think that things can change in a matter of a minute. And maybe I end up back in LA and maybe I don't. But with that being said, I do think it's important for me to acknowledge, like, I don't want to take all that time I've had there and those experiences for granted in case it is. And boy, have I had some experiences, some really good ones and some really bad ones, and that's life. I'm grateful for all of them. Well, most of them. Some of the shitty ones, not so much. But most of them I'm pretty grateful for. And especially the friendships and the relationships I've made along the way. Like, man, things I'll never forget. It feels like this has been a prolonged college experience for me, if you will. In the meantime, you know, I'm excited because I think I'm going to be able to just really make content I want. I don't have to worry about as much stuff. I'm going to stay at home with my family for a while. You know, I'm going to be shooting videos in the basement. I'm going to be living on my parents' basement, baby. Your favorite YouTuber, or maybe you're like top 25 favorite YouTuber. I don't know. Maybe I'm like top 50 for you. Maybe I'm not, I don't know. But if I am, it's gonna be filming and streaming out of his parents' basement, so that's pretty damn cool. All right, let's go. Did I just dab to add to the coolness? Yes, I know, freaking awesome. I think it'll be cool to use this channel as a way to show that and show what's going on in my life and my family and my friends, and to do videos that I just really wanna make. And then on my gaming channel, which I'll have a link to down below, I'm gonna be posting videos of stuff I'm doing on stream and playing video games for any of you guys that are gamers or just wanna see me be an idiot. It's really fun and it's more personable content. And I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch at least 3 days a week where I can hopefully get to know you guys more and hang out with you, and it'll be just more conversational. And I think it will make it more meaningful for me and a lot more fun for me. It's the next chapter of my life, and it's the next chapter of this channel and the content I'm gonna be doing across all my platforms. I've been talking a very long time. This is probably gonna be a longer video than I planned it to be, but I wanted to really go in depth about the whole process, because I think something just to take from it is like things change in life. And sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse, and sometimes you don't know. And that's part of life. And the good thing about change is things can always change again, and they probably will. But for me today, in this moment, I feel really content with this decision. It's still hard, but man, going back to be with your family and the people you care about the most, and it makes it easier. LA's been great. I'm sure I'll be back at least to visit quite frequently once the world settles down and Corona hopefully dies down. Maybe one day I end up back there. But in the meantime, I just want to give a huge shout out to all my friends and the people I've met in LA. You guys are all, you know, such a huge part of my life still. Distance won't change that. I mean, hell, a lot of you guys are moving yourselves. And to all you guys watching, I'm gonna use this as a transition point in my channel and in my career. And I want to say thank you if you've been here from the start or back and forth, or maybe you're new, maybe just every now and then. Regardless, if you've watched a video of mine or supported me at all throughout this chapter of my life, I say thank you. And as I close this book, I open up a new one, and I'm excited to see what's in store, and I hope you are too. All right, I think I did pretty good. I didn't get too emotional yet, but I will say this. I'm debating like vlogging the move, and I'm gonna be going back out to California next week to pack up all my stuff, and then my mom and I are going to be doing a road trip across the country to bring everything home, which is going to be partially painful but also pretty cool because I'm going to be able to see so much cool stuff on my way back. So if this video gets 1,000 likes, I will vlog the whole moving experience and maybe do more vlog type stuff in just the future, because I think that's kind of what I want to do, just to show you guys my life and what I'm doing. So make sure you leave a like if that's what you would like to see. Thank you guys for the support. That's it for me, and as always, keep it real, banana peels. Follow me on Twitch and subscribe to my gaming channel to see more stuff, and I'll see you guys soon. All right, bye.